All right, anybody else? Right here with the camera guy.
I was thinking about your petition that you had sent out, which I think it expired yesterday.
Yeah, the Second Emancipation Proclamation, freeing white people of fear of speaking the truth about race issues. It expired yesterday, Ernest? Yep. Yes. Like that. But let me just please make this quick announcement. I didn't even see the sign down there. 150 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing black slaves from states that had seceded from the Union, it's now time to free white Americans. And so what I've done, I've started the Second Emancipation Proclamation for white people. Freeing them to speak honestly about race issues. And so I have it up on the White House website, and it's on my website too at bondaction.org. Between now and May 4th, we got to get 100,000 signatures so that we can get the Second Emancipation, freeing white Americans to speak freely when it comes to the issue of race. Because I have to tell you, as long as you have that fear, they're going to use you. They're going to scare you and take all that you have. So make sure you go to my website, get the information on the table, sign the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing up white Americans, and we got it. It used to be 20,000 signatures, but Obama changed it to 100,000. So get the word out, sign the Emancipation Proclamation, all right? Greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. We have the power. We got to bring all people together of God so we can save our country. Thank you so much for having me here. Sorry for going over. Sorry. God bless you.
The Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, ladies and gentlemen.
I noticed there were only 90 people who signed it.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because people are, a couple of things going on. One is that some white people are afraid to sign it because they don't want their name to be on a list anywhere, they think. And then that way, the black people can still come after them and call them racist, right? And then there are black people who don't want white people to be free because they want some more free stuff from the white people. And I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that serious until I did it. But we're going to do it over. We're going to start it again when we can do it. I think there's a little time, grace period. Then I'm going to stay at this until I get this done. We're going to have an emancipation for white people if the last thing I do. So yeah, we're going to do it over.
People don't even really want to talk about it.
I know.
They don't take it seriously.
That's how afraid they are.
Yeah.
But I've heard some interesting stuff about this. It's just been, did you sign it, Ronnie, my best friend? I did. You signed it?
I did.
Yes. Wow. Angela Davis' sister signed it. I'm just joking about that. She is not Angela Davis' sister. She doesn't wear an afro or anything. And what made you sign it? Decide to sign it?
Just because you're trying to make a point there, and I just wanted to just be in agreement with that, you know.
Was it a good?
I don't think that I'm really making a point to. I'm not going to do a whole lot of good, probably.
No, why you say that? Yes, it's amazing what one person can do for good. Mm-hmm. Don't put yourself down like that.
Basically, if you can help anybody to open up and be better, then that's the whole point.
That's right.
So that's why I signed it.
Good for you. Did your husband sign it?
No.
They don't win.
Wayne knew about it or not.
What? So what?
I don't know if he knew about it.
Wayne grew up under Jim Crow. He's sure not going to sign it.
You know, I think that's the problem. People keep on talking about racism and all the rest of it.
That's why I want to end it.
They need to put that to sleep. And
Yes.
people are people, and you shouldn't be dealing with that.
That's right. So if
Why sign a petition that you're putting out there for what you're talking about? That's crazy.
But the petition is to free white Americans
from being afraid to talk about
You
it.
need to free all Americans up because
Black people don't have no
everybody's
problem with
American
that.
and people are people, man. And
Black
that's
people
the way
don't
it should
have a
be.
problem with calling white people racist.
Who?
Black people.
Well, that's their own problem if that's what they
I know,
do.
but if white people fight back, it'll end
You
this
got,
stuff.
you got the same thing on both sides, man.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yes, you do.
One more time, no.
Well, you go down south, you'll find out you have it on both sides, okay?
Oh,
I
God.
mean, but it's just really, to me, it's just ignorance. And people are just people, and they should just love one another and just.
But you
call
do
it a
know
day.
that white Americans are afraid of, not all, but most, are being
No,
called.
I don't know anybody's afraid.
You don't
I know a lot
know
of white
that.
folks, and they ain't afraid.
Let me ask you a question. You don't know that white Americans are afraid of being called racist.
I think anybody's afraid of being
No,
called a
stay
racist.
with me with the
I
white
wouldn't
people.
want anybody calling me a racist.
I don't care. They call me racist all the time.
Why?
Why they call me racist?
Why wouldn't you be afraid? You wouldn't want him to call you a racist, would you?
It doesn't matter. They call me that all the time. One guy left a message on my voicemail, and it was, I played it on the radio show. He said, Jesse Peterson, you MF, I'm gonna destroy you. You SOB, you wanna free white people up? Are you crazy? I'm gonna go on the internet and destroy you. Ain't no Jesus on the internet. Ain't no God on the internet. And no, I'm not a Christian, but I'm gonna destroy you. You want an Emancipation Proclamation for white people. And so I'm getting that kind of reaction. No wonder whites are afraid. But Wayne, I'm at a point in my life, and I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I've been called so many kinds of names and threatened and lied on and all that kind of stuff. It just rolls off my back. I don't care. I care about what is right, and I think every person on earth deserves a chance to repent and live the life that God created for them to live. And people need to understand that our battle is not physical. It's a spiritual battle. And then we can start winning our families back and our country back. And so if we are concerned about the name calling, we're not going to get anywhere. Can you imagine where we would be if Jesus had said, oh, I ain't going to do this today. They're going to call me a name. They're going to stone me. They're going to do this. We would not be free. We'd be in hell today. Because the battle is spiritual between the good and evil. Evil job is to try to stop you by degrading, by lying. They want you to care about what they think. I don't care about what they think.
How does this petition affect? I don't know what the petition is about. How does the petition make people not be afraid of being called racist?
Because if I could get white Americans to overcome the fear and start standing up for themselves, to say, look, how am I racist? I am not a racist. I'm not responsible for you having your babies out of wedlock, relying on the government, letting someone else control your life. How are you blaming me for this? I'm not responsible for what happened 150 years ago. Then black people would cut it out.
But it's not just a black-white issue.
Yeah.
White people are afraid of being called racist by anybody. But I think, like you saying,
But
basically
especially
nobody wants
blacks.
to be called racist.
I'm sorry?
I said nobody wants to be called racist. So if you're saying, your point was that you don't care what anybody says about you, so isn't that the attitude that you should be encouraging to them? Like, why do they need, I don't get
That's
why they
what the
need a
encouragement
petition.
is, not to be concerned about, don't let them lock you in with name calling.
Right.
Don't let them shut you down with name calling. Because now the older generation of white people are afraid. They've been ripped off by the so-called civil rights leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And now the younger generation are suffering because they're afraid to speak up, of whites are afraid to speak up because their parents were afraid. And so the younger blacks are being educated and they have learned the tricks of ripping off through intimidation. And so they are doing the same thing, and this can go on and on and on. And plus, we are more divided as a race because of it. But if white people got over fear, they wouldn't care what they call them, and then they'll start.
But then there are a lot of white people who are racist, and there are a lot of black people who are racist.
But most
So,
blacks are racist.
I mean, I don't know what the statistics are for that. I can't say.
99 point. No.
That's your favorite statistic. But what I don't understand how that necessarily
But why don't you understand?
levels the. I just don't see how, there's going to be a group of people who actually are racist and then a group of people who are not racist, who maybe aren't speaking up or because they're afraid. And that happens within every race. So I just don't understand how this makes up
I don't
for
know
that.
why you don't understand though. If white Americans are free to speak the truth, and there are blacks who are free to speak the truth, and Mexicans and whatever, then we're going to all come together as one under God, right? And we're going to defeat the enemy. But if we're just relying on one group to do it, like white people literally just relying on black people to do it. They find a few black Republicans or who are not afraid. They're like, oh, like, yeah, right on. Right. But it takes all of us. This is a serious battle that we're fighting. There was a guy, and I'll come back to you, James, I see you here. There was a basketball player guy, black guy, who came out last week, I guess, and said he was a homosexual. You know what he's been called? Hero.
He's getting both sides of it.
They compared him to Jackie Robinson. This guy's a hero. This guy is not a hero. We're supposed to be ashamed of our sins. Homosexuality is a sin. It's something you can overcome. But he's held up as a hero, and white people won't say anything about it because he's black. And so it's like we're losing the battle because we're divided. If you want to conquer somebody, divide them. Divide children from their parents. Eve was doing this. There was, speaking of that, they came out this week, the children of Satan, with the morning after pill. You hear about this? Yes. And they are saying now that young girls as young as 15 years old can go have sex tonight. Your daughter can have a little boyfriend, go out and this boy convince her to have sex with him. And then they go to the drugstore and get the morning after pill, which is the abortion pill, to abort the baby. And they say that the law says that the parents don't have to be notified. They don't need the parents' permission or approve to do it. 15-year-old. But that's not the end of it. This is how evil works. They're not happy with 15-year-old girls doing it. At once, I think it was 17-year-old. Now it's 15. They want 11-year-old girls to be able to do that. To go to the drugstore, purchase an abortion pill, pop it, and mama and daddy never knows about it. So that's why they're dividing the children from the parents. They're brainwashing them. In New York, they're talking about longer hours in school.
But that's not the issue. They're not the ones who are dividing the children from the parents.
The children
are already divided from the parents, and that's the problem.
No, that is a problem.
Because this is a reaction to the fact that there are so many children who are getting pregnant because they're clearly already divided from their parents. Their parents don't even know they have relationships or having sex or whatever, and then they're showing up to junior high pregnant.
But what you don't know,
that's already an issue.
but what you don't realize about that, they divided that too. They said, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to bring in government. We're going to pass a law that says that government is going to take care of you, but you can't have a man in the house, no father. It started a long time ago. The children of Satan did this. And for some reason, the blind people said, yeah, that's fine. Let's divide our family. Let the government be the daddy. And so let me just finish this point, though. Let me finish this point. And so they did that, and then they put them in the government schools and continued the brainwashing. Now the kids don't care what the parents think. And parents are afraid to even spank their kids or do anything. And according to Proverbs, whoever failed to use the stick hate their child. Whoever is free with his correction loves him. And parents are not showing love to their kids because it's against the law now. And so now the kids are eating worse. You should see some of these little kids, how they talk to their parents. They talk to their parents like, I'm like, are you crazy? I had someone in my family call me up just the other day complaining about their parents, right? Because the parent wanted them to clean up and do some stuff. I said, who paid the rent? He's like, what? Who paid the rent? My parents paid the rent. Who put clothes on your back? My parents. I said, so if you don't want to clean up, if you don't want to listen to your parent, move out. And they're little children, so they can't move out, right? And so I get this call later, they clean the house up. You can't be putting up with this crap. And they know that the parents can't do anything, so they talk back to the parents. They say, I'm gonna tell the teacher if you do this or do that to me. And so this is that division that's going on between evil and good.
I agree with what you're saying. I just feel like you're sort of saying it, and it's like I feel like you have it in the reverse. I feel like the problem started when parents were not being proper parents, when fathers were leaving their families, and the government had to step in because the families were not able to survive.
I see what
on
you're
their
saying.
own.
That's not true.
I think that it started with the family breaking up on its own. I don't
No.
think the government made the family.
You know why you think that? Because you have not, I can't believe this time, you have not been told the truth about it. I remember as a young person, under Lyndon B. Johnson, when they told black people, for example, we're going to take care of you, supported by the civil rights leaders, we're going to take care of you, but you can't have a man in the home. Men left their families so that they could get that welfare check. And now in your generation, it's just common now, commonplace. But it didn't start out like that. It was still wrong for the man to do that.
Yeah, but that's to assume that all men left their families because they wanted to get a check. Men left their families because they were irresponsible.
Well, one evil led to another one.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you start doing evil, then it just spread, it gets big.
Right.
So now it's not about the welfare check anymore, it's about something else.
Right.
So yeah.
But the solution is in the parents, don't you think? Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the solution to these issues
Right.
is within the family, and that's why they're having these problems.
I got
and if the government then feels like, well, there's all these like pregnant girls who are 12 years old with STDs.
No,
and
let me
all
tell you
these
this, and then
things.
I got to move on, right? Because I want to get to some more people, and the time is fast. The government don't care about you at all. The government is doing nothing to make your life better. The government is not doing anything for you out of love.
Right.
The government can care less. It's all to demoralize, brainwash, and corrupt so that they can control you. You cannot control a moral people. You have to demoralize them in order to control them, and that's what the government is doing. And so I don't care what the government thinks, because the government does not care. They just want power and wealth. That's all they care about. So they hook you to the drugs and they control you. That's all. Do you understand that? And all that is spiritual too. That's evil working against good. That's where you got to wake up so you can see that this is a spiritual battle and not a physical battle, not a black and a white battle. So if white Americans, back to the Emancipation Proclamation for whites, if white Americans were to get over fear, this discussion about race would be gone just like that. But if you don't have truth coming up against a lie, it just gets worse and it continues. So that's why I want them free, for their own soul's sake. Yes, sir.
A lot of people have said that well, a lot of whites really are racist. But as you taught your daughters, you said that they should speak up even when they're wrong. And white people are taught to just shut up and be nice.
Yes. And that's bad for the country. It's bad for their spirit. It's bad for their soul, because what's going to happen is that inability to speak up is going to boil over within them at some point. Because when you can't speak up, you start getting mad after a while. You start being angry. You feel like, you know how that is not to be able to speak up. And then they're going to come out in the wrong way, you know, killing black folks or whatever. And then the government going to say, see, we got to ban your guns, we got to do this because look at those old bad white people. But if white people don't care what these people think and speak up anyway, they will feel free. Then we will all of God's children would come together as one and fight against Satan's children who are on the side of evil. It's not good not to speak up. If you're wrong, let's say you speak up and you're wrong. Let's say, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But still grow spiritually, move forward. But we're losing our families and our country because of this stuff. Because people don't really see that it's a spiritual battle. They don't truly see it. They see color, they see male, female. They don't see that as a spiritual thing. And a lot of black people really don't. You know, like, well, I like white people, but you want to, I don't want them free. What do you mean? I like them, but it's just like it become a headache to free them up. And not realizing the fact that they're having those emotions in the body, meaning that they got an issue. Because all of God's children want all people free. He or she will want all people. Christ came that whosoever accept him shall be free. And if Christ is in us and we're being guided by him, we got to have the same attitude. It has nothing to do with race. It's a spiritual thing. That makes sense? So if you like saying, oh, I like white people, but just political, or then something's wrong with you. You need to go back to your prayer closet. Because once you know what freedom is, spiritual freedom is, you want everybody to be free. You even want your enemy to be free. Because there is nothing like this peace that I'm talking about. Nothing like it. You don't want anybody in captivity of Satan, of sin. No one. That's why you don't care what people say about you, because you know they can't help themselves. Children of God would never say negative, untrue things about you. So you know this person can't help himself or herself. And so your heart, you have compassion for them. You want them to wake up, because those people are not happy, free people. They don't have the peace of God in them. That makes sense? Yeah. And I used to be a hater, so I know what it is to hate. I know what that is. I also know what it is to be free. Thanks to God. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you think, or have you thought that maybe you can get people to be free without having an Emancipation Proclamation, but just let them exercise the freedom they already have?
They're not exercising it.
I know they're not, but that's the problem, is that they're not exercising the freedom they already have.
Right.
There's no law on the book saying that you can't talk about black people or you can't this. So an Emancipation Proclamation is not, I don't know if that's necessarily going to make people exercise the freedom that they already have, because they already have the freedom to do it, but they're just not exercising it.
But when you have fear, you don't have freedom. And secondly, I don't know if there's a law or not, a written law, but there is an unwritten law that says that.
Right.
If white people speak up about blacks, they're racist. It's an unwritten law.
Yeah, it's an unwritten
and black
law.
people know, if white people know it, and black people know it, so black people have taken advantage of it, but it's destroying white Americans. Because every time they speak up, there's a price to pay.
Well, if there's an Emancipation Proclamation, the price to pay is not going to go anywhere, so...
Why are you saying it won't go anywhere?
Well, explain to me, how is it going to go anywhere?
Because now that white people start, this black Abraham Lincoln freed them up. This black Abraham Lincoln freed them up, and now they're going to go out and start speaking up, and imagine what's going to happen.
I don't know what that's going to happen. Can you just talk to people and
I talked to them for 23 years already. So this is just another step.
I don't know if it's going to work, man.
I don't know either if it's going to work, but it's worth a try. Isn't it worth a try?
I think there could be a better tactic.
Then come up with one.
Yeah, it's called talking to people.
I already talked to them.
But
I'm still talking to them. I got to really move on.
Okay, let me just say one thing.
I'm still talking to them and getting my brothers and sisters to join forces with me to help set them free.
Okay, so all right, so you get them.
Do you want to see them free?
They're already free.
Do you want to see them free?
Of course.
Do you want to see them free?
Yes, sir. Yeah. They're already free, though. It's a matter of.
You don't know that white Americans are afraid to tell the truth when it comes to.
I understand that there's fear there.
Right. So stay with me just for a minute. Stay with me. So you know that they have fear, right?
Yeah.
Speaking to the mic.
Yes, sir.
And it is fear, freedom.
Fear, freedom.
Is that freedom to have fear?
No.
Okay. No. Stay with me. So they have this fear. So you know they're not free, right?
Correct.
And so what's wrong with me helping them to break that fear by doing this?
I don't think it's going to be done by legal means.
I'm not trying to do legal means.
Well, what's the Emancipation Proclamation? That's a legal document, isn't it?
Not yet. When Abraham Lincoln first started out freeing the blacks, it was not a legal document. It was a conversation first. It was an awakening first.
Yeah, but there were laws that made black people not free. There are no laws, no written laws making white people
But there
not
are
be free to
unwritten
speak.
laws, which is the same effect.
I don't know. Well, all right, we'll see what happens.
Okay. And how's that gum?
It's good.
Yeah. My English teacher told us never, ever, ever, never but never chew in public. Did your English teacher tell you that?
No.
I remember when we would like forget sometime, we would go to school, we'd be popping gum, and she'd like come over with a napkin, spit it out. She did not like that. You have some too? She did not like that at all, and it just stood with me. I don't chew gum in public, but that's fine. You represent you.
That's fine.
You be glad you're not on camera.
I want to be free to chew gum where I want to chew it.
Yeah. So don't you want white
I
people?
don't need an Emancipation Proclamation for that one either.
Yeah. Who understand what I'm saying about the emancipation? Oh, good. And it makes sense? It makes sense to you? Let me talk to Angela Davis' daughter. This is not Angela Davis' daughter, but she used to be very radical when it came to white people. You hated white people, right?
Yes.
I
I don't
can't-
want to say hate, but
Because she has sat, and you said it out loud, so I can say this.
I did.
She has sat in my meeting in this church service and looked at me and called me an Uncle Tom.
no, I called you a house Negro.
Uh-huh. in my own church service. But you agree with me on this one.
Yeah, I mean, because once I start discovering myself, I start seeing that I couldn't stand nobody. I didn't even like black people. So I started discovering I didn't really care for people in general. But I just really heard about this today. But I think the reason why you're doing this is to, and you can say I'm wrong, is to make them start to like believe in themselves. Because I know people can also be in prison in their mind. They can also be like slaves in their mind.
That's right.
You don't need like laws
Right.
to say you a slave. You can, it's slavery in the mind also. So
I
that's,
w-
that's
I've
what
never-
I think you're doing.
I never even thought about a law about that until people
Yeah, it's
started
not-
saying
no,
law.
I don't know if I'm explaining
No, you
it
are.
right, but
It's a
totally
state of
do.
mind.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Good. And she used to be radical. She
Well,
ha-
even when I'm wrong, I can admit I'm wrong.
you do?
Yeah,
No,
I-
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's why you're becoming free.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she done called me an Uncle Tom in my own meeting. Yeah. He sound like he said it's right, but he looked like an Uncle Tom. Look like he's on the side of whites. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, I love this. I want you to know you must be born again. I want you to know once you're born again of the Spirit of God, there's not one man or woman or child on earth that you would want to see enslaved. You just have a natural honesty and compassion for them. And you don't want people to be enslaved. And because the love of God it's something else inside of you. It really is. Something that you've never experienced until you enter into that kingdom. It really, really, I'm telling you, it really, 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 really is.